Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're digging into the Q2 2025 earnings call for Proto Labs today. That's PRLB if you track the ticker. Yeah, this call dropped pre-market July 31st, and the market reaction was pretty immediate.
Oh, absolutely. PRLB, they're a big player in digital manufacturing, custom parts on demand.
Right. And this quarter felt different, especially with the new CEO, Suresh Krishna, just stepping in.
Definitely. So our job today is to really unpack what drove this quarter. It wasn't just a beat. It felt like a statement.
A statement, yeah. Good way to put it.
We need to look past the headlines, and figure out what's driving the strategy, especially under the new leadership. Execution seems key.
Okay, let's start with those headlines then, because they were strong. Record quarterly revenue, right?
Yeah, a record. $135.1 million.
Which absolutely smashed the consensus. Wasn't that around like $128 million?
Roughly, yeah. So a really significant beat on the top line. That's 7.5% growth year over year.
And 6.5% if you strip out currency effects.
Exactly. Constant currency. But the bottom line was maybe even more impressive. The non-GAAP EPS
came in at 41 cents.
Right. Consensus was looking for about 35 cents.
So a full 6-cent beat. That's substantial.
It really is. And like you said, it suggests more than just selling more stuff. It points towards better operating leverage or getting more efficient.
Okay, so strong numbers overall. But you mentioned it's not just volume. Let's get into the mix. What segments were really pulling the weight?
The big story was definitely CNC machining.
Okay.
It hit record revenue for them. Globally, it grew about 20% year over year.
20%, wow.
And get this, in the U.S. alone, CNC was up 30%.
30%. And CNC, how are they doing that? Is that just more quick-turn prototypes or?
It sounds like more than that. It's moving towards production, leveraging their speed and their network.
The network. How did that perform?
Also very strong. Network fulfilled revenue that's using their partner system was up 16% constant currency.
So both their own factories and the partner network are firing.
Exactly. And management actually pointed out that customers using both systems spend about twice as much with them.
Interesting synergy there.
Yeah, it seems to be working. It helps pull them into those bigger production deals. And you see it in the numbers too. Revenue per customer contact is up 11% year over year.
Okay, CNC and the network are clearly hot. But it wasn't all good news, was it? Some areas were softer.
That's right. You have to look at the whole picture. Injection molding, for example, was down 4% year over year.
Why was that?
They mentioned a couple of things. Tough comparison because they had some big automotive orders last year and some ongoing weakness in the medical device sector impacting that specific service.
Okay. And what about 3D printing?
Also a bit soft, down 1% year over year. They pointed to continued sluggishness in general prototyping demand.
So the growth in CNC and the network is basically offsetting weakness elsewhere.
Yeah, that seems to be the dynamic right now. Those growth engines are powerful, but they are carrying some weight.
Let's talk margins and cash then. Proto Labs always highlights their financial discipline. Did that hold up?
It really did. Non-GAAP gross margin was 44.8%, which was flat compared to last quarter. Pretty steady.
Cash generation.
Still best in class, really. Operating cash flow was $10.6 million.
Solid. And the balance sheet.
Super clean. $123 million in cash and investments. And importantly, zero debt.
Zero debt. That gives them a lot of flexibility.
Absolutely. And they're still returning cash to shareholders, too. Bought back $3.1 million in stock during the quarter.
Okay. Strong financials. But I did notice the network margin specifically was 29%. Seems maybe a little lower than it could be. Was there something dragging on that?
Good catch. Yeah, there was a temporary thing mid-quarter. Tariffs.
Tariffs. On what?
Specifically on aluminum and steel inputs, mainly affecting the U.S. network business.
Okay.
So the network has, maybe a 30-day lag because of order backlog. When new tariffs hit, Proto Labs faced a choice.
Pass it on or eat it.
Exactly. And they chose to honor the existing customer pricing for orders already in the system.
So they absorbed the cost temporarily.
Right. They took a short-term margin hit to maintain that customer relationship.
That sounds like something the new CEO might emphasize, that customer experience focus.
I think you could definitely connect those dots. Suresh Krishna, the CEO since May, he talked a lot about improving customer and employee experience. This feels like a concrete example.
Did they fix the margin issue going forward?
Yeah. Management confirmed that by June, after they adjusted pricing and how they fulfilled some orders, the network margins were back to where they were before the tariffs hit. But that temporary dip shows their priorities.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's shift to the strategy then. New CEO, Suresh Krishna, he comes in May. What's the big message?
Well, he really emphasized his background. He's an engineer, but crucially, he said he was a former Proto Labs customer.
Oh, interesting. So he knows the user perspective intimately.
Exactly. He knows the pain points. His initial focus, he said, is all about listening, learning, and sharpening execution.
Sharpening execution, not changing the whole game plan.
Precisely. He was very clear. No radical shift in strategy in the near term. It's about making the current model work even better. Improving customer experience, improving employee experience.
So stability and refinement, not revolution.
That seems to be the message. And, the market seemed to like that message of steady, experienced leadership focused on operational details.
Okay, strategy is steady, but they did announce something that sounds like a pretty big catalyst, especially for higher value work. This ISO 13485 certification.
Yes, this is potentially huge. It's a quality standard specifically for medical devices.
Right, and they got it for metal 3D printing at their Raleigh facility.
Correct. For metal additive manufacturing, this is a major unlock.
What does it actually let them do now?
It opens the door to manufacturing certain types of medical components, specifically things like non-active medical implants and devices, stuff that needs really tight quality control and regulatory approval.
So moving beyond just prototypes for medical into actual production parts? Maybe even implants.
That's the implication. It's a much higher margin, stickier business than just prototyping. Higher barriers to entry. This helps improve the quality of their revenue mix significantly.
Got it. And that fits alongside their existing strength in aerospace and defense, right? Another regulated high-spec area.
Absolutely. A&D is now over 20% of their total business. It's very resilient.
Who are they working with there?
The big names, NASA, Boeing, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin. These are long-term relationships, complex parts that focus on A&D and now potentially more advanced medical helps insulate them a bit from general manufacturing cycles.
Okay, let's look ahead then. What did they guide for Q3? Does the confidence continue?
It seems so. The guidance looked pretty stable, pretty constructive. Revenue expected between $130 million and $138 million.
Okay, so roughly flat to slightly up sequentially.
Right. And non-GAAP EPS guided between 35 cents and 33 cents. So the midpoint suggests steady growth continuing, around 6% constant currency year over year.
But we need to mention the geographic split again. The U.S. was strong, but Europe.
Yeah, Europe was definitely the weak spot. Revenue there declined 15% constant currency.
Ouch.
Management basically said this mirrors the broader slowdown in European manufacturing activity. It's not necessarily a Proto Labs specific issue, more macro.
Even though they've been trying to reorganize their sales efforts there.
Apparently those efforts haven't been enough to overcome the broader regional headwinds yet.
So putting it all together, compared to the wider industrial sector, Proto Labs seems to be standing out.
Oh, significantly. If you look at their stock performance, say over the last 3 months or year, compared to an industrial ETF like XLI.
XLI's been up maybe high teens year over year.
Yeah, something like that. But PRLB has shown much stronger relative performance, especially since that CEO transition and these recent results. The market seems to be buying into this execution and regulated market focus.
Okay, so given all this, the strong CNC, the ISO cert, the new CEO focusing on execution, let's move into our speculative segment.
Right. And just to be crystal clear for everyone listening, what follows is purely a hypothetical trade idea based only on the points discussed from the earnings call. This is absolutely not financial advice.
Got it. Standard disclaimer tone engaged. Okay, what's the outrageous but plausible trade idea stemming from this Proto Labs call?
All right. The core thesis is basically an arbitrage play on quality and speed. The market, arguably, hasn't fully priced in how quickly this ISO 13485 certification, combined with their dominant CNC position, could let them grab higher margin regulated production work.
Okay, so betting on that mix shift happening faster than expected, how would you structure that?
The idea would be go long Proto Labs stock, PRLB. That's the bet on their execution, their digital platform, and this new medical capability driving upside.
Simple enough. What's the other side? The hedge or the pair?
You pair it with a targeted short position, specifically against a, let's say, large publicly traded legacy contract manufacturer, one that specializes in traditional medical tooling, probably based in Europe.
Why Europe? And why legacy tooling?
Because that hypothetical competitor likely lacks Proto Labs' digital speed, doesn't have the automated quoting platform, and crucially, probably doesn't have ISO 13485 certification for additive metals. They might have it for traditional processes, but not the advanced stuff.
So the short is betting against the slower, traditional player in a region facing headwinds, while the long is betting on the fast, digital disruptor moving into their high-margin turf.
Exactly. It isolates the bet. You're expressing confidence that Krishna's execution focus and that ISO cert will let PRLB steal share in regulated medical and A&D, specifically displacing slower European incumbents who are already facing macro pressure. It strips out some general market risk and focuses purely on PRLB's strategic pivot and quality improvement.
That is definitely a specific thesis-driven trade.
Okay, stepping back from the hypothetical, let's summarize. What are the key takeaways for you from this Proto Labs quarter?
I'd say three main things. First, obviously, the record results, revenue and EPS significantly beating expectations, powered by that incredible CNC growth and the network synergy. Right, beat and raise essentially, though the raise was implied in the strong quarter itself.
Second, the strategic focus is clearly sharpening. It's about resilience through A&D, and now aggressive expansion into higher margin medical production enabled by that ISO certification. Quality over just quantity.
Okay. And third,
the leadership message. The new CEO is prioritizing execution, customer experience, operational refinement, not tearing up the playbook, providing stability but promising acceleration through better focus.
so that leaves a really interesting question for you, the listener, to think about. We see CNC is strong. We see revenue per customer is already up 11% year over year. And now they have this ISO key to unlock regulated medical production.
Yeah, the question is, how quickly can they really ramp up that high-value medical device revenue? Will it accelerate fast enough to meaningfully boost that revenue per customer metric even further?
And crucially, will that new high-quality growth become big enough, soon enough, to finally outweigh the softness we're still seeing in areas like injection molding and general prototyping? That feels like the next chapter for Proto Labs, something to definitely watch in the coming quarters.